Maybe you're the storyteller of your circle. In that case, Chronozoom is made for you. In the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can see the little account button, which when I click on it gives me the option to log into Chronozoom with different types of accounts like Microsoft, Google, and Yahoo. I have already created a Microsoft account, and I'm going to use that one here. Having successfully logged into my Microsoft account, I'm taken back to the main canvas to an open profile dialog. Here I need to specify my Chronozoom username, which is how I will be known to other users and viewers of Chronozoom. I also have the option of supplying my email address. Once I'm done, I click to save my profile. After my new profile is created, I'm shown a blank canvas and the Create Timeline dialog is opened. Here I have to provide a name for the top-level timeline. This will usually define the theme of the content I plan to put inside the timeline. And I give it a reasonable start and end date. Let's say I'm interested in human history for the last 4,000 years. That means that I will start with 2000 BCE for before Common Era and leave the end time as infinite, which means that it will always be the present date. Click Create Timeline to save. Perhaps I wanted to change the name of the timeline I just created. So I click on the pen icon in the lower right-hand corner of the timeline to edit my name. I enter a better name for the timeline and click Update Timeline, and I now have established my storytelling workbench. Now I want to include some important historical events in my timeline. For that, I click on the pen icon at the top of the screen and select Create Exhibit. And I will now click somewhere inside the timeline to denote where in time I want my new exhibit to reside. I don't have to be super precise about it because I can always change my date later. After I click the timeline, a Create Exhibit dialog opens. I need to give this new exhibit an overall title, and I choose Battle of the Kings because I've heard of a legend about some ancient war and adjust the date if necessary to around 1700 BCE. The most important part of this exhibit is one or more artifacts which will show engaging media. So I click on the Create Artifact, and a new dialog opens up. Each artifact needs to have at least a name and a URL that points to existing media somewhere on the internet. Chronozoom does not store the media itself. To make it easy, I click Import from Bing. The Bing search dialog opens up, and I enter my search, Battle of the Kings. And let's say I'm interested in pictures. I'll select the picture option and click Search. Presently, I'm shown a series of images matching my search, and I select the image that will be returned to my previous dialog. Now the URL is filled out with details about its source. Notice that several fields have been filled out as well for my convenience. I can change any of these values to suit my needs. I also want to include a description which will be shown below the image or video when browsing Chronozoom and in tours, as we will see later. I click Create Artifact, and I'm returned to the Create Exhibit dialog where I now have a new entry under Artifacts with my video or image. I now click Create Exhibit, and my new exhibit is shown in the timeline as a circle with a rectangle inside containing my image. I have already created a second exhibit with a more recent conflict of the French invasion of Russia in 1812, and now I want to create a tour that connects the two. A tour is a way to guide Chronozoom visitors through the content you created in a predefined sequence, a kind of a slideshow. Click on the pen icon at the top of the screen and select Create Tour, which will open the tour dialog. Give the tour a meaningful title such as Conflict and a description which will be shown to users on the tour playing menu. Now you have to create individual stops on the tour, which can be timelines, exhibits, or artifacts. So I click Create Stop. The dialog now slides away, and I'm prompted to select the first stop with the mouse, or my fingers if I'm using a touch device. Once you click on some existing content, the tour dialog slides back into view, and you can click to add the next stop on the tour. The list of stops indicate the sequence the stops will be shown, and I can rearrange the stops by dragging and dropping in the list. Once you are done, click Create Tour. In this dialog, it is also possible to modify the text that will be shown for each stop so as to override any description originally attached to the item. The tour I just created is now available on the tour playing menu, and we can launch it to inspect our work. Notice that there is an edit link next to the tour playing link on the tour menu. This is how you can return to refine the tour later. At the bottom of the Chronozoom application, you find a number of resource links, which takes you to the Chronozoom community website. Here you will find different resources depending on your needs. Whether you're a history teacher, a student, a storyteller, or a developer, you can find instructions for using Chronozoom and engaging with the Chronozoom community. Developers will find resources for contributing to the free and open source code hosted on GitHub. Use Chronozoom for teaching and telling history, and do help us make it a better product with your written feedback or developer contributions. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this brief introduction to Chronozoom. Whether you are a history buff or a developer, you can engage with Chronozoom at join.chronozoom.com, where we look forward to your feedback. We work in a free open source community, and we take your feedback and your contribution very seriously. Thank you very much.